I want you to look closely at your life right now. I want you to look at the struggles that keep you up at night, the silent battles you fight when the rest of the world is fast asleep, and the heavy burdens you carry inside your heart that you cannot even find the words to explain to your closest friends or family members. We all go through seasons of intense testing. We all hit moments where the walls feel like they are closing in on us, where our resources are completely depleted, and where it feels like the weight of our trials is simply too massive for our fragile shoulders to bear. We fear witting is olds, the weight of our trials is simply too massive for our fragile shoulders to bear. You pray, you cry on your prayer mat, you make endless supplications, but when you look around at your physical circumstances, nothing seems to be shifting. In fact, it might even feel like the pressure is intensifying with every single passing day. You become exhausted, your spirit feels drained, and a quiet, dangerous whisper begins to echo in the back of your mind, asking if relief will ever come, or if you are destined to remain trapped in this pain forever. But I want to share a profound, world-altering truth with you today. The Almighty never sends a storm into your life to drown you. He sends the storm to clear your path, to wash away the illusions of this temporary world, and to prepare your soul for an elevation that you could never have achieved in a state of constant comfort. Hardship is a divine school, and just like any school, the exams do not last forever. There is a designated day, a designated hour, and a designated millisecond where your test officially reaches its conclusion. And just before that massive wave of heavenly relief breaks through into your physical reality, the Almighty begins to drop clear, beautiful, unmistakable divine signs within your soul and around your life. He begins to signal to your spirit that your long winter is coming to an end, that your patience has been thoroughly accepted, and that your miraculous turnaround is currently being executed by the angels. Today we are going to bypass the surface and look directly into the deep, magnificent, and highly advanced spiritual indicators of divine intervention. We are going to explore the turnaround and the four powerful, undeniable divine signs that your long hardship is finally over. Let us step back for a moment and look at the flawless architecture of the universe around us. The Almighty operates in a realm of perfect, deliberate transitions. Think about the season of spring. Spring doesn't just instantly force itself upon the earth out of nowhere. Long before the first visible flower blossoms from the frozen ground, a silent, unseen work is taking place deep beneath the soil. The temperature of the earth begins to subtly warm up, the roots begin to stir, and the internal chemistry of the plant completely shifts. By the time you see the green leaf pierce through the dirt, the true victory has already been won in the dark. In the exact same way, before your physical problems vanish, a beautiful, radical transformation takes place inside your spiritual atmosphere. Let us explore the very first, most profound divine sign that your turnaround has officially arrived. Sign number one is when you experience a complete, unshakable, and absolute detachment from the outcomes of this world, replaced by a radiant sense of internal stillness, even while your external crisis is at its absolute worst. Think about how we typically handle a prolonged trial. Our human instinct is to panic, to obsess, to stress, and to lose our sleep. We allow our happiness to be entirely dependent on our bank account, our health report, our social status, or how other people treat us. We are constantly running around, frantically knocking on every human door, trying to force a worldly solution with our own limited, fragile power. We become emotional prisoners to our circumstances. But suddenly, as you pass deep into the trial, a magnificent day arrives where a serene, cool wave of tranquility descends directly into your chest. Your external reality hasn't changed by a single inch yet. The debt is still there, the sickness is still present, the difficulty is still staring you right in the face, but the panic inside your mind has completely dissolved into thin air. You look at the mountain in front of you, and instead of crying, you smile. You look at the storm, and instead of shaking with fear, you take a deep breath and feel completely safe. You find yourself saying, "O my Lord, I have done my absolute human best. I have laid my head on the ground and I am now completely, fully and beautifully content with whatever you decree for me. If you give it to me, I am grateful, and if you withhold it from me, I am completely at peace, because I know you see what I cannot see." This magnificent, supernatural state of the heart is what our beautiful faith calls the highest level of Sakeenah and Rida, which means absolute contentment with the divine decree. This is not a psychological state you can manufacture with positive thinking or self-help books. This is a heavy, radiant piece of heaven that the Almighty places directly into the hearts of those who have successfully passed the test of faith. Look at the spiritual law at play here. As long as you are obsessing over the problem, as long as you are letting the hardship control your moods and break your spirit, the test must continue because your heart is still attached to the creation. But the exact millisecond you detach your heart from the creation and anchor it fully to the Creator, the hardship instantly loses its spiritual purpose. You have learned the lesson of the exam. The moment you become content with Allah in the midst of the trial, the Almighty commands the physical chains of that trial to completely shatter and the doors of miraculous relief fly wide open. This leads us directly into the second highly intense divine sign that your long hardship is drawing to a definitive close. Sign number 2 is when every single worldly means, every human contact, every backup plan, and every door of earthly support is completely, aggressively, and utterly slammed shut in your face, leaving you with absolutely no choice but to rely entirely on the Almighty. To the untrained eye, to the person who looks at life through a purely materialistic lens, this looks like absolute disaster. They look at this stage and they cry out, "Oh no, everything is falling apart. My friends have abandoned me. My lawyers have failed me. My finances are dry. I am completely finished." But listen closely to this breathtaking spiritual secret. When the Almighty is preparing to grant you an extraordinary miracle, when He is about to give you a turnaround so massive, so beautiful, and so unexpected that it will make your eyes overflow with tears of joy, He will intentionally and deliberately, systematically dismantle every human crutch you are leaning on. He will cause your influential friends to forget to help you. He will cause your backup business plans to unexpectedly fall through. He will allow the people you trusted most to walk away from you in your dark hour. Why does He do this? Is it because He wants to punish you? No. It is because He loves you far too much to allow your heart to share its gratitude with a human being. He wants to isolate your case so completely from worldly logic that when the breakthrough finally arrives, nobody on earth can stand up and say, "I was the one who saved him," or "I was the one who gave her that job." He clears the stage of all human actors so that when the curtain rises, your eyes will see nothing but the raw, unadulterated power and mercy of Allah the Almighty. Imagine a soul who once held the keys to worldly success, surrounded by wealth, property, and a thriving circle of support. Then, in what seems like a sudden flash, a massive, crushing cascade of trials hits their life. They lose their livelihood overnight. Their assets are completely destroyed. Their deepest foundations break. And to top it all off, they are struck with an exhausting, painful, and deeply debilitating trial that leaves them physically and emotionally drained. The difficulty is so severe and prolonged that the people around them become uncomfortable, step away, and completely distance themselves. For many long, agonizing years, this soul lives in total isolation on the outskirts of comfort. Every single human door of remedy, wealth, and social support is entirely, completely slammed shut. There is no expert on earth who can fix the damage, no wealth that can instantly buy back peace, and no friend who can step into the absolute darkness to ease the loneliness. They are left entirely alone in the universe with their Creator. But does their tongue fill with complaints? Do they lose their unshakable faith? No. They sit in that total isolation, turn their heart completely toward the heavens, and present their brokenness with absolute humility, calling out to the Master of Fates that distress has touched them, and that He is the most merciful of those who show mercy. Look at the absolute perfection of this trust. They don't demand a specific timeline. They simply present their weakness to the all-powerful. And because every single human means is thoroughly dead and buried, look at how the heavenly turnaround arrives. The Almighty does not send a worldly army or a visible shortcut. From the driest, most barren ground of their life, a miraculous spring of relief begins to gush out. The divine command shifts the entire reality, and instantly, in the blink of an eye, the long-standing illness of grief is erased from their soul. Their strength is fully restored, and the Almighty blesses them with twice the peace, twice the abundance, and a life far greater and more beautiful than anything they had lost. When the world completely locks you out, do not panic. The closing of earthly doors is the definitive celestial signal that your miracle is no longer coming from the horizontal means of this earth. It is currently descending from the vertical power of the heavens. This brings us to the third magnificent divine sign that your long trial is reaching its expiration date. Sign number 3 is a sudden, spontaneous, and intense increase in your desire to praise, thank, and remember the Almighty, even while the physical pinch of your hardship is still heavily weighing down upon your life. Think about the natural human tendency when we are going through prolonged financial stress, marital heartbreak, or emotional depression. Our tongues automatically become filled with heavy complaints, deep sighs of sadness, and constant groaning. We talk to our friends and we spend hours complaining about how unfair our life is, how difficult our circumstances are, and how nothing ever seems to go right for us. We allow the darkness of our problem to completely blind us to the ocean of blessings we are still swimming in. But when your turnaround is right at the door, the Almighty touches your tongue and your heart with a special radiant type of celestial light. You find yourself driving your car, walking down the street, or sitting alone in your room, and your tongue is effortlessly, automatically whispering, "All praise is due to Allah, glory be to Allah, sufficient for us is Allah, and He is the best disposer of all affairs." A radical shift in your focus occurs. Instead of obsessing over the 2 things that are currently going wrong in your life, your mind becomes deeply, intensely overwhelmed with gratitude for the 50 things that are going absolutely right. You begin to look at your ability to see, your ability to walk, the breath flowing smoothly through your lungs, the shelter over your head, and above all, the precious gift of faith inside your heart, and your soul overflows with genuine thankfulness to your Creator. This spontaneous surge of gratitude in the middle of a storm is a massive spiritual milestone. Why? Because the Almighty has established an absolute, unshakable, mathematical law in the Holy Quran that can never be broken. In the 14th chapter, in the 7th verse, Allah states with absolute clarity, "If you are grateful, I will surely definitely increase you." Look at the profound sequencing of that divine law. The text does not say that once your problems are fully solved, I will make you grateful. No, it says that if you make the conscious, faithful choice to be deeply grateful first, while you are still in the middle of the trial, I will immediately trigger the decree to increase you in ease, increase you in relief, increase you in guidance, and overflow your life with blessings. When you stand up in the dark and thank the captain of your ship while the waves are still crashing against the deck, you are actively releasing the keys of abundance. Your gratitude is the spiritual code that signals to the angels that your soul has reached the ultimate level of spiritual maturity. Fam istikam spiritistom, maturity, miwe Jesus in venis imoistom kam lestes paspanteuk. The exact moment your tongue completely switches from complaining about the creation to praising the Creator, the test is marked as completely passed, and the heavenly decree of relief is instantly signed, sealed, and delivered to your life. Now, let us look into the 4th, most dramatic and definitive divine sign that your long hardship is finally over. Sign number 4 is when your personal trial reaches its absolute maximum, most intense, and most crushing point, where you feel completely broken, completely helpless, and like you cannot endure even one more single second of the pressure. This is what we call the cracking point of the hardship. Think about the physical analogy of a mother who is going through labor pains to bring a beautiful new life into this world. The contractions start off small and spaced out, then they grow closer together, then they intensify, and right before the moment of birth, the pain reaches an absolute peak of overwhelming agony where she feels like her body cannot take it anymore. But any experienced doctor will look at that exact peak of maximum pain and smile, because they know that the peak of the pain is not a sign of destruction. It is the definitive biological proof that the baby is about to arrive. The pressure has to reach its maximum to push the new life out. In the exact same way, when your personal trial becomes so heavy that your knees literally shake on your prayer mat, when your tears flow so fast you cannot catch your breath, and when you feel completely empty of all human strategies, that is the ultimate sign that the hardship is currently expanding to its absolute bursting point. The shell is cracking open so that the magnificent blessing hidden inside can finally emerge into your reality. The Almighty describes this intense, raw human reality beautifully in the Holy Quran when documenting the psychological states of the greatest generations of the past. In the second chapter, in the 214th verse, Allah states, "Until the Messenger and those who believed with him cried out, 'When is the help of Allah?' Unquestionably, the help of Allah is near." Think about that scene deeply. These were noble, strong believers of history, yet the worldly hardship squeezed them so tightly and so intensely that they openly cried out to the heavens, asking when the divine assistance would finally arrive. And the very next sentence uttered by the Almighty was the glorious reassurance that the help was already right there, standing at the door. Imagine an entire assembly of sincere believers striving to cross a harsh, unforgiving desert to escape years of oppression. They march forward under a blazing sun until they suddenly hit a massive, roaring, completely impassable barrier, a deep, endless sea stretching out right in front of them. They are forced to stop dead in their tracks. There are no boats, no bridges, and no logical escapes. And right at that exact moment of absolute vulnerability, they look back toward the horizon and see a massive dust cloud rising. It is a brutal elite army chasing them down with weapons drawn, armor gleaming, and absolute destruction in their eyes. Talk about an absolute maximum point of crushing pressure. There is deep, deadly water ahead of them and a ruthless, slaughtering force right behind them. From every single logical, mathematical human perspective, they are completely finished, trapped, doomed, and wiped out. The crowd completely panics, loses its composure, and cries out in absolute terror, saying, "Indeed, we are caught. We are caught." But the leader standing at the front possesses an unshakable, profoundly deep, and diamond-hard connection with the Creator. He does not allow his physical eyes to deceive his spiritual heart. He does not look at the physical trap of the water or the army. He looks directly through the radiant lens of absolute faith. He stands tall and unwavering before the roaring waves, faces his terrified, screaming people, and utters words that will echo as a monument of faith until the end of human time. He says, "No, indeed, with me is my Lord. He will guide me." And what happens in that exact maximum moment of pressure? The Almighty does not just send a standard, predictable solution. A simple command strikes the surface of the water, and the massive sea splits wide open into 12 completely dry, solid paths, with walls of water standing like towering mountains on either side, creating a miraculous, beautiful highway of absolute escape for the believers, while completely closing back up and drowning the entire arrogant, opposing army in a single sweep. The very body of water that looked like it was going to be their graveyard became the magnificent highway to their absolute freedom and victory. My beloved brothers and sisters, whatever massive sea you are currently standing in front of today, whatever mountain of debt, sickness, loneliness, or depression is chasing you down in the dark, I want you to anchor this message deep into the DNA of your soul. Do not run away from your prayer mat. Do not allow your anxiety to write the conclusion of your story. The Almighty did not bring you this far to abandon you. If you are experiencing these divine signs in your life right now, if you feel that unexplainable internal stillness deep inside your chest, if human doors are aggressively slamming shut in your face, if your tongue is spontaneously finding the words of gratitude in the middle of your pain, and if the pressure of your trial has reached an absolute maximum peak where you feel like you are about to break, then I want you to lift your head up high. Take a deep, beautiful, conscious breath. Wipe the tears completely away from your face. Know with absolute, unshakable certainty that your Lord has not forgotten you, that He has not left your side for a single millisecond, and that He never ever burdens a soul beyond what it can uniquely bear. Your night has reached its absolute darkest, coldest, and thickest point, which means the sun is currently preparing its rays to rise over your life. Stand firm, keep your faith burning bright, and watch how beautifully, how majestically, and how perfectly the Almighty is about to execute your turnaround. May Allah remove every single heavy hardship from your life, replace your long nights of tears with endless years of radiant laughter, completely heal your hidden wounds, open wide the doors of unimaginable, overflowing blessings for you, and grant you ultimate, uninterrupted success, tranquility, winaifan el tirzeth, tronichimina eletibisatov, tointimina alitoisa do faista tatois tolthus, amplitsu dini biles, and win pini dini biles, and win plini dimisu mini pinel bikesu, or drakini bitline su faisa besaimaisto bis, or drakini bikelis you dwis Detachment to soinan umnes, and a win plini plina num lida mao beninen tiles, and no meets you and peace in this short temporary world and in the eternal paradise of the next life. Until we meet again in the next reminder, may the peace, mercy, and blessings of the Almighty be upon all of you.